Rolls are made in Trump Tower Grill, he wrote. I love Hispanics. But with his non-endorsement, Ryan joins a growing list of Republican Party elders who are distancing themselves from Trump. Both living former GOP presidents, George H.W. Bush and his son George W. Bush, said they won't endorse Trump or attend the party's convention. And the two previous Republican nominees, Mitt Romney and John McCain, they will boycott the convention as well. Now, Trump has said he can win the election even if the party does not unite behind him. On the Democratic side, meantime, despite Hillary Clinton's large lead in the delegates, her rival Bernie Sanders insisting he has a path to the nomination and he will stay in the race until the final votes are cast.
A situation breaking right now shows no sign of letting up. Tonight we're following this massive fire across the border in Canada. It's consumed an area as large as New York City. We're back with new video in just 60 seconds. Alberta, that's where more than 1,000 firefighters are working desperately to make headway against a wildfire that has grown to more than 210,000 acres. Nearly 50 wildfires are burning. More than 80,000 people have been evacuated. The city of Fort McMurray. Back here at home, we're also following new developments in a troubling case of a child allegedly abused inside of a classroom.
That is disturbing indeed. Last night we told you about the teacher's assistant believed to have hooked a student to a bulletin board by his pants. Tonight we know the school district has come down hard on the adults involved. The Night Team's Julian Johnson has the update from Rockdale County.
So we've confirmed with the school district they have fired the two paraprofessionals involved in this alleged case of abuse. And now this grandmother says she wants even more action.
They have been terminated, and I'm ready to see them go to jail.
Tracy Davis's 5-year-old grandson, Skylar, is at the center of an alleged abuse case at Shoal Creek Elementary School in Conyers. The school's principal found the boy in a classroom with 3 employees. Officials say one of them had hooked Skylar up to a bulletin board by his pants as the 2 other adults stood by and laughed. Skylar has a developmental delay, and Davis explains the state found this wasn't the first time he was treated this way. She believes other adults knew about the behavior but said nothing.
And if you know something, say something. If you don't, you're a part of the problem, and you're just as guilty as those 3 teachers are.
District officials say the process for firing the teacher is also underway. In Rockdale County, Julian Johnson, CBS 46 News Night Team.
Well, new at 11, a story you'll see only here. Yesterday's multi-state gang takedown resulted in dozens of arrests, but one in particular caught my attention. Kevin Clayton, he's also known as KK on the streets of DeKalb County. He told me just months ago that he had left the street life behind. A federal indictment, it disagrees. Just one station with the new developments tonight.
I done seen the murders. I done been around the robberies. I done been around kidnappings and everything that you can imagine.
It was back in February when I first introduced you to Kevin Clayton, better known as KK. I told you that once a prominent leader in the Gangsta Disciples, Clayton claimed that he had turned his life around. A lot of these guys do look at you and say, you've been there and you've been in places that they can't even imagine, I imagine.
Yeah, I done been there. Like you say, I done been on both sides. Like I said, I came up playing football and baseball, athletic side. You know, my mom and dad, they kept me in the sports growing up. But as I got older, I ventured off and started doing my own thing. That's when I got into the drugs and I got into the gang life.
But according to this 55-page indictment, the feds say that KK never left the gang life.
They operate in a very complex network.
KK is one of 32 people indicted Wednesday in federal court. According to that indictment, these 32 are accused of various racketeering charges like murder, robbery, extortion, drug trafficking, wire fraud, and bank fraud. They're accused of being members of the street gang Gangsta Disciples, the same gang that KK told me he had left behind. Instead, he claimed to have started BCF, Better Communities and Families, 3 years ago. It was all to empower former and current gang members to get on a straight path.
You don't recruit to go kill, you know what I mean? You recruit to better the community. And I started the organization reaching out to some of the Blood members, the OG Crip members, and the OG GD members that I knew, and we brought it together.
I met KK and the BCF crew at Rock of Ages Lutheran Church on Memorial Drive, where young men in his organization serve meals to the homeless every Wednesday.
You got a lot of young guys here.
It's a good thing.
Yeah?
That's the best thing.
That's the best thing. Why?
because me being the OG, they listen.
As part of the indictment, Britt Johnson with the FBI in Atlanta says that while Gangsta Disciple members like KK were serving the community, they were simultaneously victimizing it.
This investigation has shown that members of the Gangsta Disciples who were involved in community-based activities such as feeding the homeless, Stop the Violence rallies, and community fundraisers are simultaneously involved in violent criminal activities as well as narcotics trafficking and fraud.
According to the indictment, KK asked another defendant for a contact to help smuggle marijuana into a prison. A year later, he's accused of ordering Gangsta Disciple members to assault a Bloods gang member. That same year, he's accused of bragging that the Gangsta Disciples had infiltrated police departments and the parole office.
Well, she was coming from the store, actually.
But when I met with KK, he made it clear that he believed that gangs were not a problem. It was what the gangs had been doing. He insisted the gangs should be protecting their communities, not victimizing them.
She got shot like 17 times.
When I met with KK, we went to Flat Shoals Road, a hot spot for gang crime.
Right here on Flat Shoals Road, just this street right here alone, I lost a lot of friends that's in prison and a lot of friends that's dead in the cemetery.
We talked about a 17-year-old girl gunned down during a drive-by, the fear that was rampant in this community over senseless killings. And we talked about how to make this community better and safer. But according to investigators, what was really going on was not the end of gang life for KK. They claim that he was and is one of those who was making this community unsafe.
We should mention that the FBI is still looking to arrest 2 more suspects in this case. By the way, you can read the indictment that lays out the prosecution's case against those 32 suspected gang members. It's at our website, CBS46.com.
Certified Atlanta's most accurate forecast for the second year in a row. Now, CBS 46 Chief Meteorologist Jim Kosek.
If you had a jacket on this morning on the way out the door, please do so again tomorrow. The sun's coming up at 6:44, and it will be bright, much like this morning, but it will also be brisk and it will be chilly. If anything, maybe about 2-3 degrees colder tomorrow morning compared to this morning. The 40s have it at 5 and 7 o'clock. There's the sun coming up for you there. 48 degrees at that stage of the game. 9 o'clock, 52. That's not really warm, certainly not for this time of the year. And it all goes down with the fresh airflow from Canada and clear skies. And there'll be a little bit of cloud cover up over the mountains and maybe 1 or 2 sprinkles and flurries coming to the higher spots above 3,000 feet over northeast Georgia. That's not the concern here, though. It's the wind going with that fresh Canadian air. So these are sustained winds, 8, 9 o'clock in the morning, and notice more times than not they're on into the teens. Wouldn't be surprised during the height of the afternoon we get into the lower 20s for some of those sustained winds with gusts upwards of 30 miles per hour. So maybe another wind advisory as we head on in through tomorrow afternoon. Now I'm going to give you the green light for the morning and the evening rush hours. 48 going to 71 degrees, but here's what you want to do. Dress for this stuff at 8 o'clock in the morning if you're outside. Feels like temperatures more low 40s as opposed to the upper 40s, all right? My 3-degree guarantee is for 72 tomorrow. So it's not as cold as today. And I'll verify this at 6 p.m. tomorrow. If I get it right, we'll donate another $50. We'll get to $250,000, all benefiting Girls on the Run of Atlanta. They do run, but there's so much more to the organization, and you can check out more at girlsontherun.atlanta.org. So the cold air now from Canada gradually gives up ground as the air from the Pacific Ocean comes on in, and that just so happens to coincide with this weekend. So if you have outdoor plans, you are ahead of the game. Once again, jacket weather tomorrow, wind huffs and puffs, 30, maybe 32 miles per hour for some of the wind gusts. But then it calms down tomorrow night. Saturday, just a little bit of a light breeze, maybe 8 to 15 miles per hour, but more sunshine, more warmth on Mother's Day. That is terrific outside. Humidity trickles back next week, and maybe some hit-miss thunderstorms for the middle and latter stages of the work week. That's what I call a summertime air mass. But at least for tonight and tomorrow morning, Sharon, it feels anything but that.
All right, Jim, thank you. A developing story tonight. Atlanta Falcons president and CEO Rich McKay says it is impossible to know whether Atlanta will host the 2019 Super Bowl. NFL owners will make that decision May 24th. When the Falcons announced they were building a new stadium, team owner Arthur Blank said he wanted a Super Bowl here. Atlanta is competing with New Orleans, Miami, and Tampa to host the game.
The night team is following very important news for anyone still inconsolable over missing Beyonce's show at the Georgia Dome. An Atlanta encore is in the works. The details in just 2 minutes. Well, new at 11, Caitlyn Jenner plans to take it all off for the cover of Sports Illustrated. The 66-year-old says she will pose nude in honor of her 40th Olympic anniversary. She set the decathlon record back in 1976 at the Montreal Summer Games. The transgender star says that she will wear only an American flag and a medal for that photo shoot.
Good news for Beyonce fans. After selling out her show last week in Atlanta, the singer announces she is coming back to Atlanta in the fall. The Formation World Tour will make another stop at the Georgia Dome on Monday, September 26. Pre-sale tickets are already available for Beyonce's fan club members. The general public can buy tickets starting next Friday, May 13th.
Will the Hawks be able to get a win now that they're back home? We'll hear what Coach Bud has to say after this.
Cinco de Mayo.
That's right, it is Cinco de Mayo. This was the scene in Little 5 Points. The day commemorates Mexico's victory against the French during the Battle of the Puebla in 1862. It seems more popular here, though, inside the United States than in Mexico. Tacos, margaritas, and tequila were on the menu at this party.
Of course, it's more popular here because it turns into a drinking holiday.
Exactly right.
Is that why?
Whereas over there, it actually means something.
Yeah, I noticed there's a lot of places, though, in Little 5 that has outdoor seating. I don't see anybody sitting outside. It's a little too chilly for that.
A little bit chilly tonight, huh?
Chilly again tomorrow, though.
All right.
All right, so we're back here in the morning. It all starts at 4:30 a.m. with Gloria Neal and Bobby Cable.
We'll see you back here tomorrow. Have a great night.
Good night, everybody.